Team Biden, Team Trump, you ready to answer? Here we go. We're live. 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the class of 2021's presidential debate. It's a mock presidential debate. Our speech and debate class has been working diligently, investigating issues, and coming up with positions. And I know our students are ready to get started, so let's welcome them. Thank you. Thank you. So today we have a teacher who is acting as moderator during the debate. We will be following a format where each side will be able to deliver an introduction. We're going to be debating 5 topics that the students determined in class. The first topic will be the economy. The second, COVID-19. The third, racial inequality and police reform. The fourth, healthcare. And the final topic for today will be climate change. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our moderator, Mr. Kushki.
Good morning. Good morning, students. I'd like to welcome you here and congratulate you on what's going to be a phenomenal event. All right, let's get right to it. Our first part will be the introductions. Team Biden has won the TAHS and they will be going first. They will be giving a maximum 4-minute introduction. Team Biden, the floor is yours.
Hello everybody, my name is Joe Biden, and I want to thank you for tuning into our presidential debate and for caring about the future of America. Your civic duty as a U.S. citizen is to vote and to be informed about that vote, and I want to thank you for doing your part to be as informed as possible. I hope that after today's debate, you will be convinced that I, Joe Biden, am worthy of your vote and the office of the presidency, because unlike Donald Trump, who will be working to keep his crew out of prison and to benefit the 1%, my policies will be beneficial to you, average, hardworking Americans. In today's debate, we will be discussing 5 issues that my campaign and I feel, and I'm sure you'll agree, are the most important to Americans in 2020. First is the economy, specifically how we're going to fix the recession that Donald Trump is leaving us with, which I have experience with after Obama and I fixed the last recession that a Republican president left behind. We're also going to work to ensure jobs for every American, fix trade relations, and make the wealthy pay their fair share in taxes. And when I say that, I want to be clear that this will be without taking an extra cent out of the average American's pocket. If you make less than $400,000 per year, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Donald Trump over here, who needs to start paying more than $750 per year. Second, we'll talk about the COVID-19 crisis. My administration will fight to protect all Americans from this deadly virus and work on creating treatments and vaccines efficiently. The American people want honesty, not Donald's lies, and they want a president who wears his mask, just like he's asking all you frontline workers, grocery store clerks, and nurses to do. Third, we'll address racial inequality, police brutality, and reform. If you don't believe that the Biden campaign is better than Trump on racial inequality, I'll just settle that for you right now. I completely denounce white supremacy. My entire team denounces white supremacy. You're not going to hear him saying that. We can back up our beliefs on racial injustice with effective policy too, not just words. The Biden administration will fight for every single American of every color and will work towards restructuring and correctly funding our police forces to serve justice without bias. Our fourth topic today is healthcare. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and after it, the Biden administration will work towards proper health coverage for all Americans, regardless of income and without excluding pre-existing conditions. We'll fight to stop price gouging of pharmaceuticals and work on lowering costs of insulin and other necessary substances that Americans need to survive. And finally, we'll discuss climate change. Instead of Trump's plan, which includes bringing back more coal in 2020 and opening up the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge to oil drillers like he's done, the Biden administration will protect our environment from filthy fossil fuels and start transitioning to cleaner energy that will be accessible to every American and will create thousands of jobs. Now let's wrap this up. Look, folks, the cultural and legislative wound Donald Trump has inflicted on this country over the past 4 years is deep, and will take years to fix as it is. Another 4 years of his malarkey will make those wounds even deeper, potentially to the point of no return. If we keep riding the Trump train, our country will lose millions of Americans to coronavirus, even more to violent police, and even more to pre-existing conditions. You are in danger, and he is the danger, America. Folks, more is on the line than just the presidency. This could very likely be the decision between the continuation or the destruction of this great nation. I've climbed this nation out of a hole before as President Barack Obama's second in command, and you can trust me to do it again. I'm not here to be the Democratic president like Donald Trump has decided he's the president of white supremacists and xenophobes. I'll instead be the president of everyone in the United States of America. I can promise that. Thank you for listening, and I hope you listen closely to our points throughout this debate. You'll hear from my Vice President, Kamala Harris, at the conclusion of this debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Team Biden. Team Trump, your introduction, please.
My fellow Americans, I am Donald J. Trump, and it is my pleasure to be speaking to you today. My team and I are here to show you our vision for a better America, an America that is great, that is once again patriotic and beautiful. We have worked tirelessly for the last 4 years to make America the greatest country in the world. Today, you will hear from my brilliant counterparts and myself as we prove to you that we are ready to keep America great for 4 more years. Today, we will put rumors to bed and show the country that I am the only president that can save us from these dark times. We are living through the most unprecedented time in American history. You deserve a leader who you can have complete and unwavering faith in. I promise to bring vaccines to America in record time, lower the cost of health care for all citizens, limit the level of greenhouse gases in the air, bolster our incredible economy, and unite all of our beautiful American citizens. I am asking you to disregard the fake news you have been exposed to in the media and listen as we dispose of all the lies created by the opposing side. During my first term as President of the United States, my administration and I have accomplished more than most presidents could accomplish in 2 terms. We have created over 4 million new jobs, providing an abundance of short-term health care options for every American, recorded the lowest unemployment rate among people of color in American history, and we are continuously working to keep our country the safest in the world. With your help, you, the American people, I know we can make this country incredible in every way. We can continue to provide opportunities to all Americans. We can bring attention to the growing problem of climate change while still keeping our economy the best in the world. We can provide health care for all of our citizens at a much lower cost. We can become united again. And I know it isn't easy to look at your country right now. However, we are strong, resilient people who have been through tough times before. Together, we can beat the coronavirus and create a new path for America, a path that encompasses all and treats everyone fairly and equally. This great, glorious nation deserves another 4 years of effective leadership. And today, we will prove that we are the only administration fit for the job.
Thank you, Team Trump. We will now move into the open forum section, where we will have the 5 topics. We are set aside 8 minutes per topic. Each team will get a 90-second opening statement. Our first topic is the economy. Team Biden, you will go first.
Okay, I just wanted to remind our students who are watching at home, if you have a question that you would like to pose to either side, you can email me at angie.burke@tasd.net. Again, these are for the students who are watching at home. We will have a Q&A portion at the end of the debate. And so, again, if you're a student watching at home, we would love to hear your questions for either side. So again, you can email me, angie.burke@tasd.net for students. Thank you.
Thank you. Team Biden, you may give your 90-second opening on the economy.
For 4 years, Donald Trump has boasted, quote, the greatest economy in the history of the world. Following the coronavirus pandemic, this statement is far from correct. As more than 12.5 million people are unemployed, over 100,000 small businesses have closed, and the average American is struggling to provide for themselves and for their family. To truly understand which candidate is best for our economic well-being, we must analyze the Trump economy before and after COVID-19. In his first 3 years in office, President Trump piggybacked off of the economic strides made by the Obama-Biden administration, as his economy has experienced just a 0.2% increase in average annual growth. Additionally, President Trump has created less jobs and seen a lower rate of wage growth in proportion to the previous administration. Currently, the state of the economy is comparable to the Great Depression, as the GDP has experienced a decrease 3 times larger than any instance since then. While lives have been lost, so have jobs. Unemployment remains very high, 7.9% to be exact. We must also evaluate Vice President's history with economic recovery and stability. Biden was in charge of the Recovery Act after the Great Recession. He is credited with the addition of over 2 million jobs in a very short period of time and the implementation of an $840 billion stimulus package. His history with restoring a broken economy makes him extremely qualified for the task at hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Team Trump, your opening.
Hello, my name is Aaliyah Salazar, and the economy is so important, as it's the wealth of our country. As I stand here before you, our economy is booming. It's fantastic. We have passed the biggest tax cut and reform in history, and this is thanks to Donald Trump and his plan. Just think of the jobs that have been added, and the unemployment rate went down. President Trump has given our economy the boost it has needed for years. This is the kind of person you want to be in charge of our economy. Think about how crucial it is for us to have the right foundation financially for the generations to come. It is so important for us Americans to have a sturdy economy. With President Trump leading the way, we can learn to advocate the right to pursue prosperity. We can do this by picking the right choice. We need to have a president that has a plan. We need to come together as a nation to make sure our leader is someone that can create a strategy and make a plan and follow through with it. With President Trump by our side, we can create a redefined American dream. It is time to make a change. Less welfare saves money, more money for military spending. Tax cuts will help economic growth. I know we're in a rough time, but it's time to make a change. We as Americans need to see that it is time to make America great again.
Thank you, Team Trump. We will proceed with the open debate with this. If any team would like to make a comment, all right, pose a question to the other side.
So I've noticed 3 points being made by the Trump administration. Number one, job growth. In fact, in the 3 years prior to COVID-19, which is when Trump claims that his economy has been booming, he has added, as President Trump stated in his introduction, just over 4 million jobs. When comparing his administration and the Obama administration, in Obama's final 3 years in office, Obama and Biden added 7 million jobs. Now, 7 million is obviously quite a bit more than 4 million. So when it comes to job growth, it's clear that Joe Biden will continue the growth that he and President Obama were able to accomplish in their final 3 years in office. I would also like to point out the unemployment. It has hit 14.7%, one of the largest numbers in recent years. And this, while it is credited to COVID-19, and it has been going down back to 7.9%, we can really only continue to bring that number down if we treat COVID-19 as it really is. People are still without jobs, and in fact, in the time of crisis, President Trump narrowed the benefits under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, which weakened protections of crucial workers and hindered our ability to combat the virus and did not support many freshly unemployed workers. So I would like to point that out as well. Now, we are talking about the economy as a whole here. And you know, The Biden administration is very much for middle-class families. When he talks about tax cuts, I would like to point out that during his time as vice president, right after the recession of 2008, Joe Biden secured a legislative compromise.
Well, I think it's really important to not talk about something that happened in 2008. If we talk about what Trump's going to do for the future and the plans he has, he'll create 25 million new jobs over the next decade, and I think it's time to take a step towards our future, not something that happened in 2008.
He plans to create 10 million jobs in the next 10 months and 1 million small businesses. And the way he is going to do that, he is going to establish 1 million of those jobs out of China, and they're going to send them to the U.S.
I think that while it is important to plan towards the future, that is strictly hypothetical. When you look at history, you see something that has been done and somebody who has proven
I
to
am
do
looking at
something.
something that's been good. Trump has created an economic growth more than Obama.
Right, but only 0.2%, which I would not claim is the greatest economy in the history of the world.
2.5%.
2.5% compared to Obama's 2.3%, which is an increase
That
in
0.2 makes a
0.2%.
big difference when you're talking about economic growth, no, don't you think?
I'd just like to jump in. So you said that Trump created 4 million jobs and he's going to be creating 25 million more. Were those 4 million jobs after COVID, so such as employers rehiring previous employees because they were laid off due to COVID-19 and hiring jobs in new areas such as people who have to wipe down surfaces to keep them clean and temperature checkers that have just been added on because of the COVID-19 crisis that came under the Trump administration?
We have about 15 seconds left. Team Trump, would you like to respond?
Donald Trump's plan is to create jobs in new ways. We can create jobs by building a wall. We can create jobs by, you have to sanitize something for a job, that's what you got to do.
Yes, but he's
Thank you. I'm sorry, teams. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. That is time for that. Our next topic will be the COVID-19. Yep. Okay. You have a 90-second introduction. Team Trump, you will go first.
Hello. While the health of American people is our priority, we must continue to move forward economically. In the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, early action was taken to cut off travel from China, as well as immigration measures, which were enacted to slow the spread. The administration is investing around $2 billion in community health centers, helping their 28 million patients in areas which have low medical centers. Thanks to President Trump's efforts, coronavirus vaccine trials have been advancing at record speeds. Many patients have come near or are in the final stages of clinical trials. He had built the world's leading testing system from nothing, while providing support to small businesses and workers all across
We'll now continue with the open forum section. Right ahead.
I'm just looking at Trump for COVID from his website and comparing it to my website, which is extremely detailed, pages and pages long. This plan is about four. I'm not understanding what COVID is. Could you maybe?
And for, I'd say it was to the plan for COVID is, while pushing our economy forward is important to keep our jobs going. And
Website. He clearly at all. For example, I'll create an infectious disease
to this of a incredible pressure
Thank you. Hello, Team Trump. You will give your opening first.
Healthcare is more important now than ever to the U.S. citizens. The current healthcare system needs to change. We need to make healthcare more affordable and accessible. Currently, Obamacare has led to a dramatic increase in the cost of insurance. Getting rid of Obamacare would help make the insurance companies more competitive, which in turn would make them more affordable. The combination of Obamacare mandates and subsidies are fueling the rising costs of healthcare. In the last decade, when the Affordable Care Act was passed, prices have doubled. Millions of families are losing their insurance due to these costs. They can't afford the astronomical prices that have become uninsured. During these times of COVID, it is more important now than ever for families to be insured and to be insured at a reasonable price. This isn't a return to the pre-Obamacare status quo, and it isn't just an attempt to replace Obamacare and leave it at that. This is a new approach. That means more choices, not more mandates. You should have the freedom and flexibility to choose the care that's best for you. Insurers should compete for your business and treat you fairly no matter what. You and your family should have access to the best life-saving treatments in the world. And as you get older, Medicare should give you more choices too. At every step, you should be in the driver's seat. Healthcare can become more affordable by reforming existing laws, enacting new policies to minimize efficiency, enhance the consumer experience, better leverage innovations, lower administrative costs, and eliminate the need for the reliance on harmful healthcare taxes, which only make healthcare more unaffordable. The following solutions will make healthcare system more affordable, accessible, and effective for all Americans.
Thank you, Team Trump. Team Biden, your opening.
On April 30th of 2019, Joe Biden said, "When we passed the Affordable Care Act, I told President Obama it was a big deal," or something to that effect. And that it was. Under the ACA, more than 20 million Americans gained health insurance, and an estimated 19,000 lives have been saved. This act was a monumental moment in history that continues to benefit hundreds of thousands of Americans daily. Groups of people that had never had health care before and never thought they would make it to the day where they did suddenly found themselves with a plan that will cover them. They would no longer live in fear of getting sick and not being able to go to the doctors because they couldn't afford it, or have to ignore broken bones because of a hospital bill as big as someone's college tuition. The Obama administration fought hard to give people this right, and the Biden administration will fight even harder to continue allowing people to have it. Joe Biden recognizes that the ACA may not work for everyone, and he wants to fix that. He has already laid out a course of action to reform and perfect the ACA so that everyone can benefit from it. After all, great things take time and patience, especially when it is a great thing for all Americans. While the Trump administration has made it evident that they want to completely eradicate the ACA, they have yet to come up with an effective plan that would benefit everyone and allow the ACA to be repealed without massive repercussions for the United States as a whole. Biden, however, has been dedicating hard work and effort into crafting a perfected version of the ACA that would benefit everyone, because he wholeheartedly believes that healthcare is and forever will be a human right.
Thank you. Now the open discussion.
So I just want to mention, in Trump's introduction speech, you guys talked about short-term options. Now these...
Pull the mic a little closer, please.
Yeah,
there you
sorry.
go. That's okay. Thank you.
I don't know if it's on.
It doesn't.
I don't think it's on. No.
Yeah.
So your administration has authorized these insurance companies to sell more short-term plans that are exempt from the Affordable Care Act's requirements to cover patients with pre-existing conditions and offer comprehensive benefits. These plans provide an escape route for healthier consumers to buy cheaper coverage, which could tilt the general individual market more toward the sick, raising the premiums.
Team Trump, do you have a response or a statement you'd like to make? Not Team Biden, you may.
I would like to say that I think there's a bigger issue, and that I think we need to make action into abolishing Obamacare, because we are the people that are getting affected by it realistically. We are the ones that are having our insurance
So the
skyrocket.
Trump administration talks a lot about wanting to completely eradicate Obamacare. Now, if you're going to do that, you need to have a plan in place to do that, or you're going to leave thousands of Americans stranded.
Well, lucky for us, Trump is educated enough to create a plan.
Okay, well then what's the plan layout?
Trump has a lot of plans for a lot of different things to benefit us in the future. I hear a lot about what Biden has to say about the things that Biden has done in his past.
Okay, well, what is the plan? We're asking, what is the plan? Tell us the plan.
To get rid of Obamacare and make healthcare affordable.
Well, you can have a plan like that in place to get rid of something, but if you're going to talk all of this stuff about wanting to completely eradicate it, you need to tell the American people what you're going to replace it with.
This is currently something that he's in the works for. He's trying to make moves with because he's currently our president.
This has been in the works for his entire presidential
I didn't see Biden doing this with
Joe Biden has a plan as opposed to Trump.
What's his plan? I'd love to hear.
Joe Biden's plan is just to expand the Affordable Care Act as it already is and to introduce
More detail, please.
He wants to introduce a similar to Medicare for all, but not quite that, as an option.
Could you talk closer to the microphone? I'm really sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So it's going to be like, it's going to be an optional plan that you can opt into that would essentially be Medicare for all, but it's optional. So it's a completely comprehensive Medicare.
Team Trump, a response or a statement?
I would also just
Go ahead.
Okay, I would also just like to point out that Biden's plan is essentially about supporting health, not rewarding wealth. I think it's pretty evident that Trump really only cares about the money that's going to the insurance companies' pockets here, and Biden, we genuinely care about the American people's safety.
Hey, Team Trump, a final response or final comment?
Trump knows that more than 100 million Americans depend on Medicare and Medicaid for their health care. We understand that, but the difference is Trump cares. We intend to save Medicare by modernizing it. We need to create a new system.
That's Team all. Biden, final thought. Final statement, anything?
Again, talking about needing to create a new system, this has been going on for Trump's entire term. You can't be saying that you need to create a new system while also making efforts.
4 more years.
You're making efforts throughout the entire Trump term. There has been efforts to eradicate Obamacare, but there is no set plan that has been announced to the American people that will take place after it is eradicated. You cannot fight relentlessly to get rid of something without having a backup plan for those millions of Americans to fall back on.
Yes, you keep saying that you have a plan, but you keep saying we have all these plans, we have all these plans.
Thank you.
Well, we still don't know what the plan is.
Thank you, students. Thank you. That brings us to the end of this segment. We'll now move on to our last topic, climate.
And I'd also just like to send out a reminder, I have been getting some questions for our Q&A period. So this is our final topic for the debate today before we open it up to audience questions. So again, if you're a student watching the debate and you would like to ask either side a question or both sides, please email me at angie.burke@tasd.net. Thank you.
Hello, students. All right, we're now on to climate, and Team Biden, you will give your introduction first.
Over the last few years, our planet has been getting warmer at an alarming rate. In fact, 2019 was the warmest year on record, and the years following will only be worse if we don't start reducing the emissions of harmful gases into our air. We need to move towards a 100% clean energy economy, and we need to move quickly. Every year, around 50 billion metric tons of CO2 are released into the atmosphere, and that's just one of the harmful gases we are polluting our air with. Just to name a few other, there's methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons. In the last decade, the ocean and land temperatures have been increasing at a rate of 0.32 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the highest that increase has ever been. It might not seem like that much of a difference, but we are losing 427 billion metric tons of ice sheets, and the sea level is rising 3.3 millimeters per year. In the next century, scientists are predicting that the overall temperature will rise anywhere from 2.5 to 10 degrees. America alone is responsible for the emission of 5.1 billion metric tons of greenhouse gases, and Trump has done nothing to reduce that. Recently, he has actually authorized an oil drilling plan for the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, which is home to not only many native animals, but also indigenous people. As a nation, we need to come together and put a stop to harming our environment and start investing in a cleaner and safer planet.
Thank you. Team Trump.
In times like these, we are experiencing a tremendous amount of changes in our climate. Climate change is both natural and man-made. I believe that there is still much that needs to be investigated about climate change because we do not truly know what are the true causes of climate change. As being part of the Republican Party, we want to help President Trump slow down the climate change without drastically altering our economy.
Thank you. We now have the open discussion. Either side may go first.
I just want to touch on a point that you just made that we don't know the true causes of climate change, but we do. We've been saying that climate change is at least partially or probably mostly caused by humans. We've been saying this for like decades now.
I think Trump knows that the issues with greenhouse gas emission comes from people. He does take accountability for that, and I think taking accountability is the first step for admitting that something is wrong, especially in our system when you're looked at in the public eye so harshly. He has made many claims that he thinks if there is something wrong, it could be catastrophic and irreversible consequences for our economy, I'm so sorry, for our world in general. So I think Trump is really making moves with that, and he's admitting that there's something wrong.
I think this is kind of a case where there's a difference between saying that you're going to do something and actually doing something. He's had 4 years, and not only has he not done anything, he's gone the wrong way. He's rolled back every single Obama era and before plan that was put in place to prevent climate change. He's gotten rid of every single one.
Team Trump, a response or statement?
What is Biden's plan to help climate change? How will Joe Biden help slow down the change that is so drastically happening?
So Joe Biden will plan to move toward 100% energy free or 100% clean energy economy, and we plan to reach net zero emissions. We plan to do this by working more towards electric vehicles to reduce the gas emissions. We plan to rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement that Trump withdrew from. We plan to not only rejoin the Paris Agreement, but also try to rally with our allies to create a stronger and more forceful changes.
Trump has also said in numerous interviews that he has a few plans to help slow down the change with climate change. He's also signed a full-page advert with other businesses expressing his support for legislation. So he also does have a plan.
He's also called climate change a hoax. So.
I'm sorry.
And also that page that he signed, wasn't that like almost a decade ago now?
Weren't you talking about something Biden did in 2008?
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
We have any last statements on this, please, as we come to the end of the segment?
I think Trump is doing a great job acknowledging the fact that we are failing to act now and we will cause irreversible consequences to humanity. He understands this. He's willing to put together a plan and a strategy and work with the people. He understands that we're a nation that needs to come together as one, because if we don't make moves right now and do something, we won't have clean air for our children. So this is something that we really need to take action on now.
Thank you. Team Biden, last statement.
One final point. Climate change is not an issue that is strictly American. As one of the leaders in the world, we need to treat climate change as a global problem, as it is. And by joining the Paris Agreement, we will be able to be a leader once again and address this as the global issue it is. Because if the entire world is working together towards one goal to fix climate change, it will happen a whole lot quicker.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, students. That brings us to the end of that segment. Thank you. Okay, so we now move on to the audience questions. Once again, the students here, they do not know the questions coming, so we'll leave it like this. And Ms. Burkham, you can chime in here, that any student could, I will pose the question out there. And then it's just an open, any student can ask. I just ask that you, once again, respectful, speak one at a time, and I will try to keep it going back and forth.
Okay, and I think in order to just provide equality for both sides, how about we give you 60 seconds to, if you wanted to confer as a team. Remember, your mics are on, just to decide if you want to stay where you're seated or if you want to kind of move your tables around. So we'll set the time for about 60 seconds in order to allow some movement to occur.
Is this your water here?
Stay right here.
That's okay. Okay, we ready? All right, here's the first question. So this is for either side. What is your position on vouchers that send public school money to private schools? This is open to anybody. I know, once again, it's nobody may not have prepared for it, but here you go. Anybody like to jump in? What is your position on vouchers that send public school money to private schools?
Are you referring to like a charter school?
Charter schools, online academies, things like that.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what Joe Biden's specific position on this is, but I would, if I had to make an educated guess, I would assume it's probably against that, because I feel like it doesn't really make sense to divide funding away from one school to start another school. Now you just have two mediocre schools, you know?
Got it. Thank you. Team Trump. Comment. And once again, like I said, you don't necessarily have to be it might not be your candidate's position. You might kind of take what you think his position might be. Any statement you'd like.
I mean, I believe that there has to be a genuine reason why that would happen in the first place. I don't personally know the standpoint on this in terms of Trump's side, but I do realize that they wouldn't do this without reason, so.
Okay, thank you.
I think, can I make a comment?
Yes, by all means.
I think the problem is that the reasoning ends up being that wealthier individuals want to have a specific school for them, and then you end up with, in a lot of communities, a wealthy school and then a poor school, which is obviously not good. You know what I mean? Like, we need to have everybody on the same playing field. If we keep doing things like this, that's how our income disparity grows even more than it already is.
Thank you. Team Trump, final statement, if you'd like. That's okay. All right. Our next question comes in. Here you go. Why do you think the media is failing to address the Hunter Biden situation when the media took great lengths to attack Donald Trump, as they do over many issues, for what he believes are false allegations? Do you believe there is a media bias towards one side, and what do you think that has to, what impact do you think that has on voters? Team Trump or Team Biden?
So I feel like asking something about the media is that's so broad. I don't understand putting all the media together doesn't make sense. So there's going to be biases in specific news sources, but also I think the reason they're probably not addressing the Hunter Biden situation, and I'm sure some of the media is, you know what I mean? It's so big, it's not, like, it doesn't have to do with Joe Biden. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter what his son is doing. It's about Joe Biden running for president. His son isn't running for president. I mean, Donald Trump's kids all do loads of stuff, you know what I mean?
Okay, thank you. Team Trump, comment, statement.
I think that the media is highly biased in many ways, but it goes both ways. I believe that they probably avoid talking about the Hunter Biden situation because oftentimes the social medias that are popular like to avoid supporting Donald Trump.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just make another point?
By all means, go right ahead.
I think people aren't addressing it because this is an election, and if we look at elections in the past, it has always been a very touchy subject to bring in family members into the election. I mean, there's no need to dig into his son's life when the election is Joe Biden.
Okay, thank you. Would you like a final comment?
I would just like to say that I think the media portrays someone that they want you to see, and they talk about topics that they want you to read about. So I think that you need to just read the surface and not think too far things into what's on the media.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, our third question that came in. One plan that Trump does have regarding immigration reform, he plans to invest heavily in border security to deport undocumented immigrants. What is Biden's plan to address the incredible financial strain that undocumented immigrants has on our economy? So this being the topic of border security, okay, Team Trump, Team Biden, you may jump in.
The issue of immigration, almost solely the funding issue, comes from the deportation and detention of the immigrants on the border. And also the $5 billion border wall, which has yet to even come into reality, is the main funding source. So if we stop doing that and actually do what every other country in the world is supposed to be doing, and that is legal immigration and promoting immigration, then the funding issue would go away, and people would be paying taxes, and it would actually become a money-making source for the government.
Thank you. Team Trump?
I think that currently in place, there is no way to accurately define how this will affect our economy, because the amount of undocumented immigrants that are at our border right now is overwhelming. And because of that, it causes tension in our country. So when I speak about Donald Trump wanting to build a wall, we talk about Donald Trump wanting to secure a sort of comfort in American people, knowing that there aren't going to be a massive influx in people that should not be here. And I definitely support people coming here legally.
Okay, thank you. Team Biden, go right ahead.
So I think the issue with illegal immigration, which, I mean, I'll talk about it anyway, but it's kind of just a lot of the Donald Trump team making a mountain out of a molehill. It's really not as big of a financial burden as they like to say it is. But regardless, if you want to support legal immigration, and I don't have the exact numbers on this, but we need to make legal immigration more affordable for these people. They're coming here because they want to make a life for themselves, you know what I mean? And we need to be able to give them the resources to do so, and that includes not having immigration cost like $8,000 and require that you know English, and all these other ridiculous, arbitrary rules. Like the citizenship test is like ridiculous. So if we want to talk about legal immigration, we need to make that more accessible for everybody.
Got it. Team Trump, final comment? Or are we good?
I would just like to add another thing. Trump had 4 years to build a wall. There obviously isn't one, and we don't need one. Like, if we look at the ethical standpoint from this, no human is illegal. Like, how can you say that? No human is illegal, and there should not be a wall ever.
I know how humans can be illegal. If you don't speak the language, if you can't say the Pledge of Allegiance in our country, I don't think you should be here. And I think putting a wall up is really not that.
I'm sorry, what's the language of the United States?
Can you repeat that?
What's the language of the United States? What language aren't they speaking?
If you cannot speak like proper English, do you think you should be here?
Yes, because we don't have a national language. Do you know how many people in this country only speak Spanish?
So do you want to have to fight for a job for someone who can't speak the same language as you, who hasn't had the same educational background as you, and now you have to fight him for a job?
Okay,
I don't think that's fair.
Last statement, Biden?
Okay,
I'm not asking for people to be able to come into the country for free, but if you have to take a test, if you can't tell me how many stars are on the flag, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah, but
Thank you, Team Trump, Team Biden. Last statement.
Those aren't the questions on that test. The test is absolutely ridiculous. And also,
I would like to point out that you guys stopped us from building the wall.
Team Biden, please respond. Last statement if you'd like. That's okay.
I think we're good.
Okay. Thank you. All right. What's the time? Okay. All right. I have a question on the economy here. The current minimum wage is $7.25. The last time it was increased was in 2009. Over the same time period, Congress had voted themselves several cost of living raises. Some analysts have just suggested raising the minimum wage to $15 to adjust for our cost of living. As president, what would your position be on the minimum wage? Any side?
I think that the topic of minimum wage, the minimum wage should definitely be raised. There are families out here that are living in poverty that, they have to come home at night and they have to work 2 jobs just to provide for their family. It's unheard of, and it should never happen. And as for one of the points that the Trump administration, and a major misconception that they have kind of supported, is that raising the minimum wage would either cause inflation or cause small businesses to have to cut employees. And there was and many states actually have already increased their minimum wage, such as California and New York. And data collected by the U.S. News, as well as detailed studies by economists, indicated that it is worth raising the minimum wage, or at least it has not hurt the economy in the past. And I think that this is something that there is no evidence that it would hurt the economy, only evidence that it would benefit the economy and these families that are struggling, and the people that we need to be supporting.
Thank you, Team Biden. Team Trump, would you like to make a comment on minimum wage being raised, or has it stayed the same?
I think that the economy is as it is right now in the current state of the world with the pandemic. The cost of living is probably like the biggest topic and the most important topic in most households. Raising the minimum wage to $15 across the country right out the gate is a little extreme, but I think that raising it slightly is definitely not hurtful.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I have one last question that came in, and I think this is a great question to end on. Here we go. In a country so divided and one that's losing faith in the American democratic system, how will you make the American people believe in the promise of this country and the democracy once again? What would your administration do to bring us together?
I think this is one of Biden's definite strong suits in comparison to Donald Trump, is that first off, he doesn't, he's very good at bringing people together, I think, and he's going to be a good unifying leader. He doesn't openly make racist or xenophobic remarks very often, which I think is already a step ahead. If anyone else wants to chime in, but...
Thank you. For either side, hang on. Team Trump, would you like to make an initial comment on this?
I think the irony in our country at the moment is the more that we're connected through social media and, our phones and the internet, we become more divided because we are able to express our opinions and ideas in an open way. And the only way that we can become connected again is if we truly set aside our own egos and our own judgmental sides in favor of listening to each other. So if I had to speak for Donald Trump, I would say that I would want our American people to sit down and have conversations with each other, have actual thoughtful and deep conversations about what we believe in and what we want for our country, not what we want for just ourselves.
Thank you. Final thought, Team Biden. Final thought,
I just want to say that Biden has said plenty of times that he doesn't pledge to blue states of America or red states of America. He pledges to the United States of America. He is all about unifying and coming together and getting past our political differences to make America a better place.
Additionally, the Trump administration has repeatedly stated the media is all fake news, and the fake news is what people are afraid of. And when people are afraid of something, they aren't going to believe in it. So it is the Biden administration's duty to America to let us build back better our media and our journalism so that we can believe in the science that we have by the doctors and professionals that we trust.
Thank you, Team Biden. Team Trump, final thought.
I think that the one thing I can take away from this question is that we need to regain trust in our government and the people that we are supposed to look up to. And I do think that there's a lot of problems that can be solved if we start to shy away from being so dependent on what we see online.
All right, thank you. Thank you, students. All right, we will now get to our final segment here, the conclusion. You'll get 1 minute prep time to prepare, and then we will go with our final statements from each side. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay, so basically, I think I heard some of this thing here. Like, I heard some things with Parkinson's. Because I kind of so I think I pretty much, like, I say what does, I like see what I was like, I already said, I mean, what does he look like? I already anticipated. So the racial insensitivity training, he ended it because it was racist and teaching people in the country. But their biggest point was they want police to still use force, but they ended the training to issue and then turn it into
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Team Biden, are you ready? Thank you. All right. For this, you'll give your final statement. Team Trump, you will go first.
Hello to all Americans near and far.
Sorry, my team.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hello? Okay.
You're in.
Hello to all Americans near and far. I am current Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence. I hope that with all sincerity that today has further solidified your trust in the Republican Party and that you feel confident in your vote towards us. A vote towards us is a vote towards you, the American people. Today, President Trump and our team have put our past successes and future ideas on the table for all to see. What we have done for the United States of America in this past term and what we will do in the future exceeds what any other team could possibly achieve. In the past 4 years, we have brought our economy to new heights. We have built the best economy we have ever seen pre-COVID-19 and promised to rebuild what has been lost at the hands of this pandemic during the next term. Before this horrific virus took over, we began further construction of the most pro-people, pro-job economy this country has ever had. There was an annual average economic growth of 2.5%. More directly towards all of you, there will be more jobs available to our citizens than ever before. We make the promise to you that pending our re-election, we will continue on this positive path for our economy. One of the most pressing issues for our American people is their health care. Our plan for American health care has been reimagined far better than the Democratic side could even dream of. Our plan is ultimately to overturn the Affordable Care Act and get rid of the flawed system that is Obamacare. We will create a health care plan far better than any other. Our people with pre-existing conditions are of utmost importance to us, and we will ensure that every American will have affordable health care that they need. Almost as equal as the people that live on it, our earth is something we value greatly in protecting. Under the Trump administration, we've had the best and lowest carbon emission numbers in over 30 years. We've had great relations with the industries to protect our air and water. This is why we have the cleanest air and water. The way our environment is going is not something to take lightly, and that is why we've been doing the finest job possible in making sure we do not go downhill. As we have discussed all morning long, our people are the most important thing to us. There have been many acts of anger and violence over the last couple months when people were hurt. But Americans, we can assure you that we have the finest police force that is trained to protect you. That does not disregard what many crooked ones have done. Rather, feel comfort in knowing that we want to protect you, all of you, to the highest extent. This applies to many situations, the most prevalent now being the worldwide pandemic. With our current administration, we have done the most to make sure our people are healthy and safe. We cut off international travel to slow the spread of this pandemic to our citizens. We put mitigation efforts in place and provided the most testing areas. We want to continue keeping our American people safe while moving forward and restoring our country. We need not be fearful, rather put trust in those who will serve you. I formally would like to thank everyone who has spent their time listening to what we have to say and promise to you. I look forward to the next 4 years with President Trump and all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Team Biden, you may give your closing.
When I look at America now, in the present day, I see it crumbling to ruins by the man who's leading. Donald Trump has caused over 200,000 COVID-19 deaths, over 100,000 jobs lost, blatant lies and empty promises, unapologetic discrimination against minority groups. withdrawing from the Paris Agreement, and complete disregard of social issues, such as an innocent woman being shot to death in her very own bed, and yet another innocent man killed at the hands of those who are supposed to protect us. But when I, Kamala Harris, look at America's potential, I can see it is greater than anyone can imagine. With the right people leading, we will be more unified than ever. We will create more jobs. We will safely get our nation back to life before COVID as we can. Everyone will have access to health care, and you bet your bottom dollar that everyone will have equal rights. If he won't admit how little he pays in taxes, and if he continues to lie about how early he knew about the coronavirus, wake up, America. What else is he lying about? Let's be honest with ourselves here. You teachers, you healthcare workers, you blue-collar workers, every hard-working, middle-class American deserves better, and you know it. So how about we review where Trump has gone wrong and where Joe Biden will go right, as discussed in this debate? Donald Trump is leaving us with one of the worst recessions in history. Just as Joe did under the Obama administration, we will work together to dig America out of the seemingly never-ending hole, something Donald Trump doesn't have a plan to do. I mean, what does he have a plan for? We have seen this man be nothing but selfish and heartless throughout this whole pandemic. As Joe has said, we need to start supporting health, not rewarding wealth. His failure of leadership has caused lives and livelihoods. What is his plan? Even after today, we still don't know. Not only does he not have a plan, but when do we ever see him taking action? George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and countless other black lives. When will these families receive justice? It sure will happen under the Trump administration. As our campaign has proven today, Joe Biden will fight to work towards police reform and solving this life or death issue of racial inequality. Another topic that is the top of Joe and I's agenda is equal access to health care for all. Donald Trump thinks health care is a privilege. Joe and I believe it is your human right. End of discussion. Human rights are not debatable. Finally, we need to listen to the facts here, the science. Trump has completely destroyed the Clean Power Plan and anything that Joe has aided Obama in putting in place to ensure our planet's safety. Think about your children. Think about your grandchildren. Do you want to leave them with the planet they are proud of? As Joe has said, he does not pledge to the blue states of America or the red states of America. He pledges to the United States of America. Regardless of whether you support Joe now or not, he will fight for you, make no mistake. We are in this together. It is time to rise to the occasion and save the greatest nation on earth. Wouldn't you have preferred to be prepared for COVID? Wouldn't you rather know for certain where your next meal is coming from? Wouldn't you rather feel safe in the hands of police, no matter the color of your skin? Under Joe Biden, these worries will just be a thought of the past. Joe is known for a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You are who Joe is fighting for, every single one of you. He cares, he's listening, and he is prepared to take action come November. So I ask you, America, what is it that you want in a president? Do you want lies, pain, suffering, and corruption? Or do you seek a movement of change? It is time for the decision, an essential decision at that. The decision of deception or unity. So please do not forget to go out and vote. That decision is yours to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And that concludes our debate. I'd like to thank all the students for their hard work, putting their effort, and going live. But bravo to all of you.
Yes,
all right?
I agree. And so just a couple of things. We do have some teachers today who are serving as judges, so we're going to give them a minute or two to kind of wrap up those score sheets. And while we're doing that, I would actually like to kind of implement a mock trial tradition. So what I'd like to ask both sides to do, because I thought both sides did an excellent job today, but in our mock trial tradition, we kind of acknowledge someone from the other side who really was a star. So I'm going to ask, you know, our Team Trump and also our Team Biden to kind of collaborate and discuss from the other side, who would you award as the star debater from the other team? And just a show of support. So if you want to kind of collaborate together, think about who from the other side was the star. So you can kind of get together. Remember, your mics are on, so be mindful of that as well.
Yeah. He's the only one that talked.
Who are we?
Anthony. I don't know. Actually, it's like conclusion is good, but that didn't take so much.
So I know that I kind of sprung that on you, but I do love that idea because I think that it shows true team unity and spirit. So I think that we'll start on Team Biden. So Team Biden today, as a group collectively, who did you kind of identify from the other side as being a real star debater?
So we want to kind of make this clear that this isn't because we're agreeing with their points the most, but that we felt like they were really prepared. They spoke on every single topic. They made really good points. It was a good person to debate with. So we're awarding this to Aaliyah Salazar.
Aaliyah, okay, want to stand
Thank you.
up? So,
I really appreciate that.
thank you. Nice job, Aaliyah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anthony. Okay, and we'll turn it over to the other side, please.
We chose to give this nice little star to Anthony Ecker. So,
okay.
Thank you very much.
And Anthony, thank you. Thank you very much. So again, acknowledging that all debaters did an excellent job today, but I do like that kind of team spirit in recognizing some all-stars from either side. So excellent. And how are we doing with our judges? They are still working, so we'll take a minute until they're ready. I'll keep talking because I just actually wanted to take a minute and give a special thank you, obviously, to our students. For those of you who are watching at home, we are on a hybrid learning schedule. So all of these students are here today debating on an e-learning day. So they came to school on a Friday when they normally don't have to. So I just want to say thank you to all of our students for showing up today and acting professionally and throwing ideas out there, and I am just really proud of all of you on an e-learning day, on a day you didn't even have to come to school. So that says a lot about you and your commitment to our class and your commitment to the issues. So thank you again for doing that. I also want to say a big thank you to Mr. Bosher and to all of the members of our tech support here at our school. If you look around, there are a lot of things that made today happen. All the mics on the stage, obviously we were very concerned about our students being socially distant and being masked, and you can see that we're spaced and we've got mics for everyone. Obviously we've got all sorts of cameras and things happening, and all of that took a lot of effort. So a big thank you to, again, Mr. Bosher and all of the members of our tech support team for making today happen as well. And I know my students send a big thank you, right, to everyone as well. And then lastly, of course, we have to thank our moderator, Mr. Kushki. So thank you very much for stepping up and keeping us all on task and focused during the debate today. You did an excellent job, and we really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And I'm still talking, hoping that our teachers are done with their scores. What more? Mr. Montross says that they're adding their scores together, so that will be done momentarily. So thank you all again. Okay, I think we are ready. I did just confer with the judges, and the judges do have a winner according to the predetermined score sheet that both teams agreed to. So again, according to the score sheet that we agreed on prior to this debate today, Team Biden has won the debate today. So, but congratulations to both sides. So, and thank you